In many ways, the story of Hope for Bereaved is really a love story. It's a story that starts with incredible grief about the loss of a loved one and sets up a journey that is very painful. Painful because we have loved. For 40 years, Hope for Bereaved has played a critical role in people's lives to navigate that journey from grief to hope, helping people to understand that even though they will never be the same, they can be a good new you. The journey for Therese Schenek and her family began in 1977.
Our daughter Mary, she was 21 years old, the oldest of 5 children, died in a car accident August 21st, 1977.
I had never experienced anything like that before. Only old people died. It was shocking. It was painful. It was raw.
We were devastated. There was so much pain, and I knew we had to go on and survive, but I didn't know how.
Therapy and support groups, they weren't there. They were not around.
Therese spoke to me. She said, David and I have looked everywhere for a group that we might belong to for parents who have lost a son or a daughter.
Once we got through the initial shock of being a member of a club that nobody wants to belong to, Therese said something positive has to come out of this tragedy that we've had.
I worked at Family Life Education, so I turned to the director, my friend, Father Joe, and 15 months after Mary died, we had a program called Coping with the Holidays for bereaved parents.
I remembered the end of the meeting. The sadness was lighter, and gratitude was in the hearts, the faces of the people that were at that meeting. And they said, couldn't we plan another meeting?
Those meetings led to the establishment of Hope for Bereaved at the Family Life Education Office in the Harrison Center in Syracuse, where they provided their free core services of monthly newsletters, support groups, and counseling services. With their growing number of volunteers helping more and more people, they were outgrowing their space. With the enormous help of a $40,000 gift from the Rosamond Gifford Foundation, Hope moved to its present location in 1991.
One word that would describe what has happened over the years is the word growth. The growth has been tremendous.
It's a haven for somebody that just feels like their whole life has been ruined and changed and challenged in a way that they never thought.
When my father died 34 years ago, I saw how good hope was to my mother. When my sister died 20 years ago, I saw how good hope was for our family. These were easy compared to what it was like when our daughter Hannah died.
In September 15, 2005, my husband died by suicide.
I came to Hope after the death of my partner. My partner died in January 2009.
In February of 2010, my husband died. And I had been in a support group at Hematology Oncology for caregivers. And when he passed away, I was in a very dark spot, and I didn't know where to turn.
So on December 30th, 2016, my boyfriend Jerry passed away of an unintentional fentanyl overdose.
When Hannah died in 2016, it was a real jolt to our family. It was searing, and hope was there for us.
I suddenly just decided I couldn't take it anymore, got on the computer and just wanted to find a chat room someplace where I could talk to somebody, because I was new to the area, really didn't know anybody, and up popped Hope for Bereaved.
I remember the day that I was back to work sitting at my computer, not knowing what to do, and I just typed into Google, actually, grief and Syracuse, and Hope's website was the first thing that popped up.
And I just got up one morning and stood there in the middle of the floor and cried. I didn't know what to do and didn't know where to turn. And I called Hope. I came in for counseling, started going to the support groups, and my life just started to turn around again.
I came to the support group for a year, and they helped me so much. It was incredible to be in a room with 30 people that knew how I felt.
And I realized that I wasn't alone. It's the normal process of grieving.
just felt right the minute walking in there. I met people who understood what I was going through, even if they didn't have the same relationship. Some have lost their children, some have lost siblings, but they just understood it. And it felt like almost from the minute I walked in, these people were this newfound family.
In 1992, a public garden on Onondaga Lake in Liverpool was created in the shape of a butterfly, the symbol of hope. It provides a memorial to those who have died and offers a place of comfort for those who are grieving.
One of our board members said, can't we do something positive? So we were talking about it as a board. And I said, we always wanted a garden in the shape of a butterfly. One of our board members was Laura Hand, and she connected us with the Parks Department.
Laura Hand and Therese Shenick got together and said, wouldn't it be lovely to have a garden there? So Therese knew me, she called upon me, we met out there, we looked around, and I could envision a butterfly, and I could envision butterflies flying among the butterfly garden.
I think the Butterfly Garden of Hope is there for a place for people to memorialize their loved one. So a brick, of course, this was my husband, and I want this here because it's a beautiful place for people to remember their loved ones.
For me, when I walk there now, I see other people looking at the bricks of their loved ones, as I see the bricks of my loved ones in the walkway.
There was one mom whose son died by suicide, and she would go there, every day, no matter what the weather was like before she went to work at Destiny. She felt close to her son, at the garden. So there's a lot of meaning to the Butterfly Garden.
We have to fundraise for everything. We're not state or federally funded. So the bricks are a wonderful way to support our organization, because whatever we make as a profit goes right into providing our services free of charge. And having just the right thing on the brick is really important. I love doing this with them because I talk to them about who they were, and it says something about that person. That's the best brick, when you can have a brick that says, I look at this as a stranger, but I know something about that person.
When I worked through my grief and I got to the point where it's like I could breathe and I could see the light again, I knew at that point that I wanted to give back to others, because I think it's very important that when we receive such a special gift, that we give that gift forward.
So somebody that started there that has been helped through their grief journey, then they get to help the next person through their grief journey.
I was seeing some of the same faces in the office on our volunteer team.
So when you're a facilitator, meaning that you are running the group, you were first in that chair.
Someone comes into our room and it's their first time. They have the same look and feel that you can remember going through this yourself.
It's very healing to be in a room with people who, when you say something, they really do know how you feel.
It's when you sit in that room and you hear people talking that you come to understand that I'm not alone in what I'm going through.
In the beginning, I was that new person, and I was watching these people and constantly following in their footsteps. But now I know that there are people behind me, months and years behind me, and they're watching me like I was watching these other people. I'm gaining from it still, but now I know that my purpose is also giving back.
When they come to support group and they talk about their child, their spouse, whoever it was that had died, sometimes they'd pass a picture around. So we thought of, we'll have a bulletin board. One bulletin board, and we just put a few pictures there. Well, it kept growing and growing.
To walk down that hallway and see all those photos, it tells a story. It tells the story of hope, what we're here for.
It's very meaningful to people to have other people see a picture. They never want their loved one forgotten, so the memory board helps that.
For 40 years, the monthly newsletter has been an important resource where people share stories of their own personal journeys. Hope's community outreach has expanded dramatically over the years with 3 core services that are totally free. In order to offer these free services, Hope for Bereaved relies entirely on the generosity of individuals and businesses in the community.
The mission of Hope is to make sure that when somebody is having the worst times of their lives, that we are here for them and they don't have to worry about a cost.
Finding that unique, safe place, a quiet place where one can be listened to is a precious thing.
I think it's important to determine means of how do we grow its services, how do we maybe reach out to a larger section of the greater Syracuse area.
Not enough people know it exists, and I think one of my goals now is anytime I come across someone who has lost a loved one, that's the first thing I say to them after I'm sorry is, have you been to Hope?
A wonderful thing to see as I facilitate a group and watch people come in who were so broken, and after coming for a couple months, to see that smile on their face, and when that first time they laugh, they go, oh my God, I can't believe I'm laughing.
This one gal, her dad had died and her stepmother was going through bankruptcy. She loved her stepmother, but she thought of taking her own life, you know. She found Hope's counseling support groups. They were free. She said, I think that Hope for Bereaved saved my stepmom's life. That's what motivates us, you know.
I've seen Hope through the years really grow with the numbers of groups that really serve our community on many, many different levels. But in order to keep going and growing, we do need funding.
Everybody can walk through this door. So the fact that has been like that for 40 years, I think is incredible. And it's worth keeping like that.
The thought of having someone surviving a drug overdose or a suicide, and including death of a husband, and really needing someone to talk to about it, and really needing that community, and not having that, I don't want to envision that.
I just can't imagine life without hope.
I think a lot of people wouldn't be getting the support they need. I don't think they'd be doing the grief work that they need to do because, one, I think people wouldn't know where to turn.
It would be a very sad place without hope.
I can't imagine life without hope. They do so many things that help grieving people.
We need to move forward because if we're not moving forward, we're slipping backwards.
I just want to make sure that hope is here forever, you know, because of the help that I know and the difference. Hope makes a difference for people.
To be able to have people say, I'm going to put a significant amount of money into a trust so that Hope for Bereaved does not have to worry. And we know that this building will be here and, you know, the people that have had the lived experience can help other people.
Knowing how important it was in my grief journey, if it was that important to me, I know it can be important to somebody else. So I think my job now is to allow hope to enter other people's lives.
I think that everybody needs to understand that we as a community, if we are healthy and we continue to be healthy, that we'll be a better community.